Miami being elite again scares the hell out of college football, because if Miami is elite again, then that means that all of that South Florida talent out of high school that leaves the area and finds their way onto Ohio State, like Jeremiah Smith, Georgia, and Alabama, those guys have no reason to leave Miami anymore, because for one, they have a shot to win a national championship, and two, they have an opportunity to receive the same development that they would elsewhere and stay close to home. And Miami this year has the most talented team that they've had since the early 2000s. And I know that we seem to say this every single offseason about the Miami Hurricanes, but this truly is one of the best rosters that Miami has had. Last year, they had a high-powered offense, but ultimately they were unable to make it to the playoffs and win the ACC because the defense let them down. So what did Mario Cristobal do? He got a lot of that NIL money, and he just threw it at some of the best defensive backs that were available in the transfer portal. So now Miami is more than loaded in the secondary. If one or two guys out of the portal don't work out, Miami can just throw out two more portal guys, and those guys should end up being able to get the job done. And if one guy goes down for injury, guess what? Miami has a lot of depth at DB to where they can make up for that. And they got a really good front seven as well. Their offense with Carson Beck is going to be fine. For one, he's a 904 brethren, so I'm always going to have a little bias for my 904 brothers, because I've seen Carson Beck play in person at Mandarin. And this dude looked like the closest thing that I've ever seen to an NFL quarterback in high school. And remind you that I've played against Mac Jones in high school as well. So Carson Beck is one of them ones. And last season didn't go the way that he planned at Georgia, but he gets too much of the blame for a lot of Georgia's offensive struggles that didn't really have anything to do with him. How good can you be throwing the football when you got receivers that should be playing defensive back? The offensive line play wasn't that good, and the play calling wasn't that great neither. There's a reason why Georgia fans want Mike Bobo's head on a platter. Going to Miami with one of the best OCs in the nation and Shannon Dawson, and a better offensive line and better receivers than what Georgia had last year, should do Carson Beck justice. Miami winning the ACC this year has a great chance to happen. This is a great team from a talent standpoint, and they are more talented than what Clemson is. The recruiting rankings, the transfer portal rankings, they back that up. It just all comes down to if Miami, led by Mario Cristobal as head coach, can handle his share of the business. And if that happens, and Miami wins the ACC this year, Miami winning the ACC title is the worst thing that could happen in college football, because that would officially mean that the U is back. If Miami can win the ACC, taking down Clemson in the championship game in the process, it shows that they can beat anybody. If they can beat Clemson, who has a top 5 team entering this season, they can beat Georgia, they can beat Alabama, they can beat Ohio State, they can beat Texas. There's not a single team that Miami doesn't have the ability to beat if they're able to win the ACC this year. Because that's my thing with Miami. I'd rather be surprised than disappointed. For 22 seasons, Miami has been unable to have double-digit back-to-back winning seasons during that stretch. This season, there is a great possibility that that could change. But we got to see it play out on the field first. But if that does happen, and Miami truly is able, for the first time ever, to live up to the high preseason expectations that they have, college football is going to be incredibly horrified of what Miami is about to be, because they got as much NIL money as what Texas, Oregon, and everybody else has to throw around. And plus, they won't have to leave too far to keep these in-state guys from going elsewhere. If you can offer anybody in state the amount of money that it takes to compete with Ohio State, then why would they need to leave at all? Like, there's no reason why Jeremiah Smith should be playing in the Scarlet and Gray. It kind of makes me sick as a Miami fan to see that Jeremiah Smith felt like he had a better shot winning a national title at Ohio State up north where it's cold, where the weather is ugly, versus staying in South Florida where, the weather is nicer, it's sunny every single day, and plus there's beautiful women down there in South Florida. More beautiful women than what you will ever see in Columbus, Ohio. So I'm just saying, if Miami wins the ACC college football, better look out, because that means that them Canes is back, baby. The U is back. It ain't no more, oh, they say this every all season that Miami's going to be back, and they're never back. It's 2025. It's not 2002. Well, guess what, people? Miami ends up winning the ACC this year. The U will be back, and they will be back in the year 2025 if it happens, and they will be able to compete for the national championship, because beating Clemson is no small feat. Clemson at one point we thought was going to be the next Alabama dynasty during the 2010s. They were in the national championship nearly every single year, and if not, they were one game short of it. And they have just as good as a chance as anybody else to win the national championship this year, with Cade Klubnik coming back, having a stacked defense, some really good underclassmen as well. So if Miami can take down Clemson, Miami can beat anybody, because from a roster standpoint, Miami has a top 6, top 7 roster. They have a team that's capable of being able to compete for a national championship. And even if they win the ACC and they don't go far in the playoffs, think about what the future means, because now those recruits start seeing that Miami's bubbling. They see that, okay, Miami finally won the ACC for the first time in the conference. They done made it to the playoffs. Okay, now I got a reason to stay, because all these recruits want to do is get paid and play in the big games. And now they will realize that Miami gives them the opportunity to do so, which means that Miami completely locks down South Florida. Yeah, a few guys may slip through the cracks here and there. Yeah, some guys still might want to go play for Ohio State. They still might want to go play for Texas because the oil money is just too much to pass up on. But if Miami can lock down just 60% of the blue chip talent in the South Florida area, it's wraps, because every national championship team these last 3 years has been comprised a good amount of guys that come from out of Miami's backyard. So if Miami wins the ACC and they start showing everybody that they truly are a threat to be reckoned with, it's going to hurt recruiting. It's going to hurt the Blue Bloods that continue to dominate that sport, because no longer can they just come into Miami's backyard and snap the best talent from beneath them. Now those guys are going to have more reasons to stay home. They don't want to leave home. They only leave because they feel Miami doesn't give them the best chance to get developed to win. But when Miami wins the ACC this year, if it happens, that changes everything. And that's what college football is afraid of.